Deets and Geets, a pop culture podcast where we give you the pop culture happenings, the deets that pique our interest.
And the Geets, the music and lyrics that fill up our weeks.
I'm Superstar Ugly.
And I'm LRK.
In this episode, we cover Student of the Year 2, aka Salty 2, starring Tiger Shroff, and the Netflix series Dead to Me, starring Christina Applegate. And in honorable mentions, we'll cover John Wick 3 and Game of Thrones Season 8. Okay, so let's get into it. We saw Student of the Year 2, aka Salty 2. When did we see that? 2 weeks ago? A week ago?
2 weeks ago, I think.
Okay.
I think it had been in the theater for 1 week, and I was afraid it was just not going to be in the theater anymore by the time we saw it, like the Friday after it had first released.
Yeah, that at that time, Rotten Tomatoes had it at 10%.
I think the day we saw it, it was 8%. I think a couple days before it was 10, and then each day it kind of went down 1%. I don't know what it is now.
Yeah, I just checked today and it's still 8.
Okay.
Although I don't know, that was the critics' view. I don't know if the audience view was higher or lower. I can't imagine it was higher.
Yeah.
So, what did you... Actually, before we get into what you think, did you want to give a synopsis of the film?
Well, basically, Tiger Shroff is this small-town college kid who is in love with Tara Sutaria's character. I can't remember what her name was in the movie. They were childhood friends, and then she went on to this elite college called St. Teresa, and he went to another college, and then he gets a scholarship to go to St. Teresa's also, and he's super excited, and then, you know, he gets to be part of this elite college and compete for Student of the Year, which for some reason only men are part of that competition.
Yeah.
And then, you know, there's kind of a love triangle, and there's lots of action and competition. So if anyone has seen Student of the Year but not Student of the Year 2, I guess similar premise where it's like a lot of competition and rivalry and love triangle.
Actually, I haven't seen Student of the Year. I haven't seen Salty 1. I mean, would you recommend?
Yeah, actually, we were supposed to see it. Like, we had talked about how we should see it before recording this. We should still see it, I think. I had seen it when it came out. Honestly, I didn't like it very much, and I'm a huge Keijo fan. So, you know, basically, I love any commercial, over-the-top, cheesy, like, all-genre inclusive Bollywood film. That's totally my thing.
Yeah.
But somehow... Soti. I don't know. Something about it didn't do it for me. Like, it didn't have the heart and soul that I expect in a Keijo movie.
So neither one of these did.
Right, yeah. Because even though, you know, the movies are, like, very, you know, cheesy and just, you know, those... I don't know what the term is, pop sugary or whatever. I don't know, yeah. But like they're all like cheesy and stuff. But somehow it still strikes some sort of emotional chord. Usually, like Keijo films, and that one just didn't. It was just annoying. And I also I wasn't impressed with any of their debuts. So in Soti, that was the debut for Alia Bhatt and Varun Dhawan and Siddharth Malhotra, and they're all doing pretty well now, especially Alia Bhatt.
Yeah.
But I was just like, whatever. Like I wasn't impressed with any of them in that movie. So that's interesting. And yeah, I didn't think the movie was very good, even though it did very well, especially compared to this one.
Do you think they're drastically different in, I guess, execution, tone, songs, acting?
Yeah, definitely not as... Like, this one was just so over the top with Tiger Shroff's rippling muscles and the parkour, and it was just way too much of... Like, I mean, it was just like, how could you take any of it seriously on any level? So So the first one maybe had a little more gravitas than this one.
Okay.
Um, and I think this, actually, I don't know. The songs were like, okay. I didn't think the songs were like amazing in either movie, but they both had a few catchy tunes.
Yeah.
So I don't know what it is. I think maybe also just the times have changed. Like maybe that movie, if it came out now, wouldn't have done as well. Like maybe at the time there was more of a market
Was that
for that.
2012?
Yeah, 2012.
Yeah.
And now, with all the different types of projects people have been exposed to, all the streaming stuff, all the international stuff, maybe like this is just like, why?
Yeah. Yeah, I think for me, the focus on Tiger Shroff's brand was a. I think he needs to make a movie about dancing, parkour, and martial arts and just stick to that. That's what the character is all about. Instead of trying to make a, sort of sports movie with drama and love and then have him be sort of this. I don't know. He's trying to be like this alpha male, but he comes off so goofy.
Exactly. Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. Like his just smile and everything is just, yeah, it's goofy. And
Yeah.
I'm surprised at him. I'm surprised at the casting of him in a Keijo film because, I mean, the only thing that makes sense about it is that he's a star kid. He's Jackie Schroff's son. But other than that, like, yeah, his branding in the last, I don't know, he's been in the industry like 3-4 years, I think.
Yeah.
And he's always done these like cheesy action things where he's this small town like alpha male with a heart of gold, but yeah, and is like weirdly like all patriarchal and stuff. Like
Yeah.
in what was that movie we saw? Well, so there was the Flying Jet, and then that ridiculous Hiropanti, where he like kidnaps that woman, and I forget like what even the whole story is, but it was
Yeah,
just
I forgot
so
about that one.
ridiculous.
Yeah.
And then he's like in Buggy too, and yeah, he just has this branding that I'm surprised that Keijo would be like, yeah, let's go with him.
Yeah.
And he's also way too old to like be a college student.
Yeah, how old is that dude? Like late 20s,
I think like early 30s.
early 30s, yeah. I think he's talented with the martial arts, the dancing and parkour. He's definitely
Yeah,
talented,
I agree.
but
He is talented.
he hasn't found the right vehicle for it though.
I feel like he should not be in Bollywood. Like he should just like be a music video model and just
Yeah. I think he enjoys like dancing, so maybe
yeah.
not necessarily background dancer, but background dancer adjacent. I don't know.
Or he could be like, the featured model in the video. That's just climbing on buildings and like showing his muscles and stuff.
Actually, though, Munda Michael, I haven't seen that yet.
Yeah, me neither.
Maybe like that kind of movie is what he should do. I looked online and saw that it's like split 50-50. Like, people, I guess it's like a love or hate kind of movie. But maybe that's like his thing. Movie where he can dance. Although I don't think that movie was awesome because the clips that I saw, it had nothing to do with Michael Jackson other than, maybe like a Michael Jackson dance moves and then it being inspired by the character being inspired by Michael Jackson. I don't know, but it didn't really seem like a good tribute. Okay, so do you think there should be a Student of the Year 3 at this point?
No. I mean, I think, I don't know. I don't think there needed to be a franchise of Student of the Year to begin with. It's, I don't know. Like, why do you need to keep having movies of like college like competitions, like rivalries? Also, so this movie seemed to like be also sort of a throwback to this 90s movie. I don't think you've seen it. You may have seen clips of it. Jo Jeeta Wohi Sikandar. It has Amir Khan, Aisha Julka, Pooja Bedi. And so it also has like a rich and poor school with an intercollegiate dance competition and also like a bicycle competition and all, race and all this stuff.
Oh, gotcha.
And so I think this movie, I think Soti too had like a lot of similarity with that, and so I think he was trying to like pull in like things that worked over the decades and like give people some sort of I don't know, that's something to reminisce on or whatever, some sort of nostalgic value there. But it again, it didn't have the heart and soul that Jo Jeeta Wohi Sikandar had. But yeah, I don't think we need more of these. I think we could give it a rest.
Yeah. Okay, so final thoughts, or is that it?
Oh yeah, I did want to say I actually liked Ananya Pandey's performance. She was like the one with sort of attitude in the beginning.
Shreya?
I think Shreya was the character's name. I kept saying Duffer. Yeah, so I wasn't expecting to think anything of either of or I guess there were 3 newcomers. I think that the jerk guy, I think also was a newcomer, Aditya Seal.
Oh yeah.
And then there was Ananya Pandey and Tara Sutaria. I feel bad for Tara Sutaria because I had heard about her for a few years, that she's like this, like she was like a celebrity kid. Like I think she won some sort of like singing competition like years ago when she was a child, and like there's been a lot of buzz about her that she's like super talented. I think she like is an opera singer and stuff. Wow. I think she's like multi-talented, but you wouldn't know at all watching this movie. She just seems like such an idiot, like just like this totally flat, shallow character. Like the character had no development. So she had the least to do. Like, I mean, she looked pretty, that's it. But then Ananya Pandey, I mean, I didn't think the role was like that amazing. I think it was very, I don't know, kind of a tacky, like 90s type of role that, like in a typical sort of sob story where it's like, oh, like my family has been mean to me, so that's why I act like this, but I'm really like nice inside or whatever. But at least she got to do a little bit more. Like she got to display a little bit more range of her acting and stuff. And I think I think there were some fun scenes that she put into it. So of everyone's acting, I think I liked hers the most.
Yeah, I would say overall the characters or the actors fit the characters that they played. So yeah, it's not all bad. I mean, I think the cinematography was also pretty good. I mean, everything popped and looked vibrant and fun, even though the content wasn't exactly fun.
Yeah, I did like a couple of the songs too. Like
really?
I guess it was just the main, like the dance competition song where Will Smith had his like 5-second appearance. I thought that song was kind of fun.
It's a real deal party with Kishore and Artie, so come on everybody say Gilly Gilly Akka. Ye Javani, hai Diwani, ha meri Rani, ruk jao Rani, dekh zara piche mud ke, chali kahan aise ud ke. Gilly Gilly Akka, Gilly Gilly Akka, Gilly Gilly Akka, Pili 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 Pili, young and we're crazy. मुड़ के
Yeah. And speaking of Will Smith, what was that?
Yeah, like why was the appearance so brief? That was so weird because I had heard that he was gonna be in the movie. Actually, I somehow like I think someone on Facebook had posted like a video like from Will Smith's Facebook page or something where he talked about his bucket list, and one of the things on his bucket list was to be in a Bollywood film. And so he had this whole like segment where he like romanticizes India and like the spirituality and this and that, and then Bollywood somehow for some reason is like part of like his romanticization of India.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, I've always wanted to be in a Bollywood film. And so they actually recorded like a pretty long, like they recorded a song from the OG Soti. Like he just like someone just must have choreographed a whole routine for him to dance with like the main, Tiger Shroff, Ananya Pandey, and Tara Sutaria. But that wasn't in this movie. I think that was just maybe they were thinking of putting it in, and then during the editing they ended up just having this little thing that was like a few seconds.
Yeah, he probably watched it like, really? I did all of that work for me to just literally just do like a shuffle out, maybe like a little shimmy, and then turn around and walk away. That's all you saw.
Yeah, I think they could have made him be like a judge of the competition, and then he could have just been like, hey, I'm gonna come join you and dance for a scene or something too. That would have made more sense. But
definitely,
otherwise, why was he like dancing with them in the competition? It didn't make any sense.
Just random Will Smith. Okay, so final thoughts.
I think it was. Final thoughts are that the best part of seeing this movie in the theater was that there was a family seated a couple rows behind us with two young kids, and the kids kept alternating saying, "I am bored, I want to go home." So I think that kind of sums up my final thoughts.
Tiger Shroff's parkour was not entertaining enough. Okay, so let's move on to Dead to Me. So I am trying to think of a good way to summarize the plot.
Are we doing spoilers? We kind of have to, right?
Yeah, it's been out long enough. I think people have seen it by now.
Yeah, and then it's kind of like you at least have to spoil like the first episode, otherwise like I guess let's just
and I think the first episode actually gives away
at the end it gives it away pretty much. I mean, yeah. I think there's still some doubt, but yeah, it pretty much gives it away.
So basically it's at least to me it's a story about friendship
and atonement, I guess.
Yeah. And what happens when you keep secrets. So yeah, I enjoyed this show overall. I feel like it's a good roller coaster ride of comedy and drama that almost sticks the landing. Yeah.
I think the tone was pretty impressive because it could have been like super dark. Like the premise is, that Christina Applegate's, what's her character's name?
Jen?
I don't think it's Jen.
Yeah, it's Jen Harding.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'll double check. And Linda Cardellini's character is Judy.
Yeah, I know she's Judy. For some reason, I totally didn't think Christina's character was Jen, though. But
to me, Christina Applegate. It is Jen. The scene showcases a rare moment of joy for a widow mourning the sudden loss of her husband, who was killed by a hit-and-run driver. Quote, Jen, my character, is grieving in the worst way possible, but that's her way, unquote, said Applegate.
Why do I not remember Judy saying, like, Jen to her, though? Like, that doesn't...
Maybe people didn't really say her name in the show too much.
Okay. Anyway, yeah, so the premise of like her husband having died in this like gruesome hit and run accident, and then her like, mourning and raising, her kids and trying to move on, like it's a really sad and dark premise. But somehow like the overall tone of the show was like pretty light. Like somehow they shot it and did the, I don't know, music and everything in a way where you didn't feel down watching it. Like you just kind of felt like, oh, okay, what's like it was just intriguing to watch it. So yeah, I liked that about it, and I think that casting was just spot on.
Definitely.
I'm always gonna see Christina Applegate as the character from Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead.
I've seen that movie, but I don't remember her in it. I just remember her from Married with Children.
Okay, I never saw that. But
what was she like in that movie?
So she's kind of like this precocious, like 17-year-old. She has a bunch of like younger siblings, and their mom goes away on a trip, and they leave, and she leaves them all with like this super old lady who's the babysitter, who she's probably in her 80s or 90s or something. Mm-hmm. And the babysitter ends up dying very early on, like she chokes on something, or I don't know, somehow it just dies.
Oh wow.
And then, what's up with all the deaths around death and comedy or whatever. But then they don't want to tell the mother, like they're like, we can like let the mother enjoy her vacation, and we should just like figure it out and just like I don't know how long it is, like maybe a month or longer. Like it's a pretty long time.
Yeah.
But Christina Applegate is like, okay, I'm just gonna get a job and take care of everyone. And so she like pretends to be older and like works at this company. She's like and like does pretty well, and like is like, gets all these professional clothes and like so it's just so she always has this thing where she like has to take on some sort of big responsibility, but then she's also like has this like sarcastic, dry sort of way of looking at life. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it totally could have been like the same character like 20 years later or something. But yeah, I think she was well cast, and then I think Linda Cardellini, because I think in the first episode you don't really know what her deal is. Like you don't know, is she like some stalker, like psycho obsessive, like single white female sort of thing, or like what's her deal? And in any case, whatever her deal is, it could be like very annoying to like have someone who's like always trying to like befriend you and like I don't know.
Yeah, it seems like what's her name? Judy. Yeah. Seems like no, sorry, Jen. It seems like Jen's character would not be friends with her otherwise. If her husband hadn't died, if she wasn't grieving in that vulnerable state, she'd probably be like, why are you talking to me?
Right. And like the things that Judy did were like pretty annoying and invasive, but somehow Linda Cardellini's character, like acting and presence, like there's something sort of just like endearing about her, where you're like, okay, well she seems cool. Like I don't know, there's some quality to her where you would be willing to overlook things.
Yeah.
Yeah, so should we talk about how the season ended and what we didn't like about it?
Yeah, might as well.
Yeah, so after all this, the whole throughout the series or throughout the season, Jen has been trying to figure out like who killed her husband, and part of the reason that she's so invested in that is because she feels guilty herself, because it turns out she had gotten in a pretty big fight with him the night that he like ran out and then ended up getting run over. And so I guess part of it is like to redeem her own guilt, that she needs to know that someone else, like she needs to find out who ultimately like was responsible for it.
Yeah.
And then of course Judy knows that she's the one who actually like hit him. And but then Judy's boyfriend, who was in the car with her, was like, no, you can't say anything, like, you know, and he urges her to like cover it up and stuff. But then she's been like trying to she's been so remorseful and trying to make amends for that throughout the show, and staying with Jen's family and doing all this stuff for them, and just doing anything she can to like.
Sometimes it seems like she wants to get caught.
That's true, yeah. Because there's like times that she kind of opens up certain clues where you're like, why wouldn't you just not bring attention to that? But yeah, I think there is a part of her that's like, I need to confess. I need to let this out.
Actually, she did confess.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, in the balloon thing, yeah, so she definitely has like that.
Wait a minute, though. Didn't she go to the police station, though, and confess?
That's true. She did, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, she has all these different ways that she's like been trying to like make amends and stuff. But the boyfriend keeps being like, no, you can't. And then initially he was like, we're in it together. Like, don't tell anyone. I'll help, you know, make sure that it never gets exposed. But by the time she does, by the time there's like no way to take back her confession, he's like, you're on your own. Like, I have nothing to do with this.
Yeah.
So then they know that he's like a jerk. And then like, he turns on her, and then she turns on him and exposes that he's been part of this whole like financial scandal or whatever it is. So anyway, the end is that Jen has been mad at Judy after knowing that Judy is the one who like literally ran him over. But then at the very end, the boyfriend comes into Jen's place and is like, what is he even doing? Like, he's trying to like get her to not say anything about it.
I think he was looking for Judy.
Oh yeah, he's looking for Judy because he's like, she ruined my life. She took all my money. Oh yeah, that's right. Because she withdrew like all the money, and then she like put a cashier's check in this like little duck thing or bird thing or whatever that she gave the son, which is like I think that was strange because like
very questionable.
Yeah, I think definitely there was a chance Jen could have just like thrown that away or burned it or something.
Yeah, I mean, she at that point she was done with her.
Mm-hmm.
So you know, the fact that Judy gave one of her sons a gift, I think naturally you would expect someone to say, you know, no thanks, and then chuck it.
Yeah.
Or destroy it somewhere. Yeah.
So that would have been like millions of dollars, like literally down the drain.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess this dude doesn't think that Jen knows he was involved, or you know, he does think she knows it because then he mentions, oh well, he's the one who says something that makes Jen realize, oh, you were in the car too, and he says it all casually.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I guess he thinks she wouldn't be mad at him; she'd be more mad at Judy.
Yeah.
And a little before this, another neighbor had mentioned to Jen that, oh, if someone comes on your property and they refuse to leave, it's okay to shoot them or whatever. And so, yeah, so in the end, I guess, like, Jen shoots the boyfriend, and then he's, like, he's, like, floating in the swimming pool, and then Jen calls Judy and tells her to come home, and they're, like, good with each other again.
Yeah, I'm not satisfied with that ending. It could have been much more creative than that, and still, I mean, if they wanted to go with the whole, like, shooting the boyfriend thing, but the way it happened, it just seems so unnecessary.
Yeah, like, I didn't like it for a couple of reasons. One is, like, well, I'm just not a fan of guns, and so I don't like the weird message that, like, give the gun to the good guy or good woman, and I don't know. So I don't like justice being done by a gun, and I don't think that he needed to die as part of like I don't know, making it right. But if they did want to kill him off, I think a better way to do it which would have been like cheesy, but would have been like full circle poetic justice, would be like they get in a fight, like, Jen just tells him off, and then he storms out, and then he also gets run over by someone.
Yeah, I mean, and why in shows do they have, one character with the gun and then the other character um, just walking over to them like, oh, just calm down, everything will be all right. Like, who does that? If someone points a gun at you, you're not going to try to talk them down like it's a hostage negotiation or something. It's people put their hands up and just like bounce.
Mm-hmm.
So I think, yeah, they could have had it where he initially was coming over to her, she pulls out the gun, and he's like, oh, okay. And then just like runs, or I don't know, maybe she could have chased him, and then he like runs and gets hit by a car or something.
Mm-hmm.
Just, I don't know. But the whole, oh, I've shot him, now what do we do?
Yeah, so season 2 is going to start out with both of them being like responsible for killing someone.
Okay, so final thoughts on Dead to Me.
Enjoyable, but no need for a sequel. I guess I would say the same about, well, I don't know about enjoyable for Soti, but well, I know it was enjoyable. I would still say it was enjoyable.
I think having the kids complaining about being bored was the best part of the movie.
Yeah.
Multiple kids, Tiger Shroff. Just saying. Okay, so we'll take a break, and when we come back, we'll have a brief chat over Game of Thrones Season 8 and John Wick 3.